Hey everybody, this is Katie Sutton. Welcome to the March 2026 Energy Update. I am an intuitive channel and the founder of Zen Within Academy, and I'm excited to share the energies with you this month so that you can better navigate the field and the collective shifts that we are all going through. But if you could give me 30 seconds of your time, I'd like to share a little bit about a program that's beginning this week that some of you might benefit from. It is called the Creatorship Cohort, and the intention of this program is to create a almost energetic womb space for those of you who might be trying to create your next chapter in your life. I know that the events that we're experiencing as a collective kind of make us want to go into freeze and make us want to shut down. And so the intention of this is for myself and the guides and the others that are participating in the group to come together and create this collective field of support so that the things that you want to create in your life become possible. We're going to go through 6 recorded transmissions on the chakra system. We're going to start with the crown and the third eye this week, actually. On March 3rd, I'll be releasing that first transmission. We will then move all the way through the entire chakra column, and then we will have 2 live calls, one opening call and one closing call. And then I'll have 2 or 3 office hour sessions where you can bring questions about what you're experiencing and the blocks that you're encountering, and we can work through them together. So that's the program. I hope you will check it out. It's linked below this video, the Creatorship Cohort. It technically opens on March 3rd, but our live call isn't until March 8th, so you've still got time to join us. All right, so let's dive into the energies of March. It feels a little heavy out there. I wish that I could come on and say everything feels like it's lightening up, but I don't think that's the energy that we're in March, at least not in the beginning. We are finishing up an eclipse portal that closes out on March 3rd. It's in the sign of Virgo. We are going to be, as that eclipse portal closes out, still in a Mercury retrograde cycle, which means that we're still going to be in a little bit of constriction or revisiting things or completing things. So we're not going to really see forward full momentum until later in the month, but we will get there, and I will talk about that in the energies. So let's dive into the themes that the guides have brought forward for this month so you can know what to expect. The first theme is integrating new truths. And I almost didn't put the word new in there because I think a lot of you who have been paying attention for a long time, the things that are coming to the surface right now are not new truths for you. However, as the collective at large begins to see behind the curtain and see through the veil of illusion that has been present and some of the manipulation energy that has been happening in our power structures, the ability for those of us who have always known something is off or something isn't quite what it seems to actually integrate the totality of the feelings attached to that is expanding as the rest of the collective wakes up to see that some things that they thought were one way are actually very different. That those of us who have maybe been feeling that for a long time have the opportunity to sink deeper into our knowing. And I'm very encouraged by that actually, because I feel like the most important energy that we have of 2026, besides co-creation, which is the overarching theme, is discernment. If we are not in our discernment, then we're not going to be able to tell truth from lie because there is so much information traveling around us all the time. And so as we are dropping into integrating these truths that might be not new to us, but new to others, it is going to allow us to tap deeper into our knowing and to be able to navigate the world from a more centered place within our internal structure. And I think that is really necessary because as we start to build new structures and new systems that replace the things that are clearly corrupt and clearly falling apart, we're going to need really good discernment to make sure that we're not making the same mistakes that we have in the past. And that's at the macrocosm level. I think at the microcosm level, you're also going to see, as you work with this theme this month of integrating new truths, that there are certain knowings that have come in for you about your own experience and your own life and how you want to navigate in the world. And you might be realizing that some things that you thought were one way in your experience, maybe in relationship or at work, are really not, that you've been kidding yourself. And we activated and opened that knowing last month. This month, you're going to start to integrate that so that you can really make peace with what is. It's allowing you to come into some stability again. And then that will pave the way for you to decide how you want to move forward and how you want to create it. It's almost, if you can envision like a pendulum spinning backwards, we're at the still point now where everything is integrating and we're starting to really get our feet beneath us again. And then that pendulum's going to start to swing in the opposite direction and we're going to start to move forward. Now, on the world stage, that's going to take much longer, right? But at an individual level, we have to begin now creating the reality that we want to experience at the world stage level in our communities, in the way that we interact with the people around us, and how we're speaking, how we're communicating. Our opportunity to make changes right now. And it starts in really small little ways in your own personal experience, in your own personal life. So that's the first theme of integrating new truths. I do think that we will continue to have revelatory moments in pockets of time this year. I think because we're closing out an eclipse portal, there's always some shadow integration that happens and new light comes in and new awareness comes in. And there's normally something really intense that kicks off on the collective stage. And then we have to process the energy that comes from that. So we're going to be integrating a lot in the month of March. That means that we need to be really consistent in how we're taking care of ourselves as well. So that's the first theme, integrating new truths. The second is consistency over perfection. So I'm finding that people are already in this kind of fiery energy of wanting to move forward in this year, in this fire horse energy, but we're getting a little stuck because we're going into old perfective tendencies and old ways of creating where we had to have all of the things figured out and make sure that we had it perfect before we took the action. That is probably not going to be the best use of your energy this year. If you feel like you need to have it all figured out before you take a first step, this year is going to probably pass you by because it's moving so quickly. And we have an opportunity to harness the energies and ride the wave of creation this year. And so if you're waiting or you're hesitating or you're freezing, you're going to have a hard time using that energy and using that new beginning frequency to create something in your life. And that's pretty much why I created the Creatorship cohort and started it this month, because it feels like we need to pull out of this freeze response. And quite frankly, there's a lot of things in our collective at the high level that are being pushed at us that really want us to freeze. They want us to be frozen. They want us to feel disempowered. They want us to feel like we can't move forward and that we're just overwhelmed with information and overwhelmed with all these terrible things because that benefits them. It's just understanding the energetic dynamics that are at play and saying, I don't want to subscribe to that anymore. I don't want the powers that be that tell me how I should be to dictate how I'm creating my reality anymore. I want to create something new. I want to be a part of something new. I want to move forward in a different way. And so taking consistent action every day to align with the reality that you want to experience. This is the tiny little micro moments of action or activism, if you wish, that you can take to align with the reality that you want to see in the world. How you show up in those relationships, the decisions that you make when you say no to something that isn't in alignment, or you put your foot down and you say, I'm not allowing this to dictate my reality anymore. I'm putting a boundary with this energy. I'm putting a boundary with this. Pay attention to how you can show up consistently every day and take at least one small action forward into what you want to create. You're not going to be perfect. There are going to be moments where you're going to feel so overwhelmed by what is happening in the world that you're going to want to just stop. This is not about showing up perfectly and being on all the time. This is about taking those moments where you do feel aligned and you do feel resourced and you do feel held, and taking action in those moments so that in those other moments where everything breaks down and you feel like the world is just too much, that you can give yourself grace, you can give yourself time to process the bigness of the emotions that are coming forward for all of us at this time. All of you who listen to my work are pretty much empathic, sensitive, frontline human beings. You are out in front trying to do things before other people do. And that is really hard. It is lonely. It is exhausting. It's hard to be the first one to see things and the first one to talk about things. And it can feel really vulnerable. And so we have to give ourselves those moments of vulnerability and wear our heart on our sleeve in those moments and allow those around us to see that we're struggling, And I'm going to talk more about that in our fourth theme as well, and be able to tap into support when we need it. And in those other moments where we feel like we're okay, take that forward moment of action. So, measured, consistent action over perfection. Throw the perfection out the window. This eclipse that we're having on March 3rd is in Virgo, and the downside of Virgo energy is very much about perfection. And we're also in a Mercury retrograde, and there's some Mercury energy in this eclipse. And Mercury is about communication. And so, one of the ways that you can really practice this theme of consistency over perfection is consistently speaking your truth, consistently communicating from your heart, consistently saying the hard thing or doing the hard thing in relationship with others, in communication with others, and allowing it to be a little bit messy. Understanding that we're learning to relate again on this planet. We have been pushed into so much polarity and so much separation that we've almost forgotten how to communicate and relate with one another. And so, as we're rebuilding and we're coming out of this kind of hermited, isolated, separated energy and back into understanding that we are in this together and we're the only ones that are going to support each other, we have to do this in community. It's going to be a little messy. It's going to be a little confusing. You're going to piss some people off. You're going to upset some people. Some people are going to upset you. And can you allow yourself to process those emotions without completely shutting down? Can you consistently try to be in relationship and try to show up as a human being and understand that those around you are showing up as human beings as well, and they are doing the best that they can? So that's one measured way that you can show up in this consistency over perfection. You might also be finding this in how you're taking care of your body, in your sleep schedule, in your diet, in your exercise, right? Taking consistent action every day to take care of your body. That's also a very Virgo energy. Health. Is it more important than getting it right all the time? Anybody who has helped people create change in their body system, they know when they're coaching people, because they have seen so many people fail, that it's better to just consistently do small things than try to be perfect in all the things. So take one step forward, maybe in all of the houses of your life this month. Really be consistent and let go of the perfection. That's the second theme. The third theme is forward vision returning. And I am so excited about this because I feel like January and February, we were still in this kind of foggy, disconnected energy. We were processing that move from Neptune and Pisces to Neptune and Aries, and we lost a lot of that Piscean energy that was helping us connect. Moving into Pisces season, right? In March, we have the opportunity for our dream space to expand, for us to be able to process things on the etheric plane. And that can help to lighten this fiery, forceful energy that we have this year. And we're going to do it in a different way. A lot of times in Pisces season, I find people checking out and numbing out and almost being too far in the dream space. We've got a lot of grounded action energy this year. So I actually see that this Pisces season is going to just balance that out. And it will allow us to dream and vision bigger for ourselves, for the world, and to have some clarity on what might actually be possible and how we might actually move the needle forward, and have that action energy behind it to be able to start to create some momentum. This is going to set off the year of this action-oriented change that we're aligning with in 2026. And so this month, it's important that you have time built into your day to day, consistency over perfection, just a little bit of time to just tune in to your more feeling landscape. How are you feeling your way through life? How are you intuiting your way through life? What is your connection to your divine feminine essence and your divine feminine knowing? And can you tap into that as a way to help you guide your own experience? A lot of the energy this year with that shift in Neptune into Aries is about being our own North Star, being our own inner compass. And so I feel like March is going to be an opening for us where there's a possibility to get more deeply connected to that clarity and that North Star and compass energy that we need in order to be able to move forward. So if you've been feeling a little stuck or a little lost or lacking in direction, I really think that this month is coming in to start to shift that energy. Pay attention to the places where it's still fuzzy and try to take consistent action in the places where it's not. If you're trying to push for clarity, that's probably not the best use of the energy. But if clarity comes, take the action quickly. That is probably the most important bit of advice for this year, is that we are slow and steady. And when clarity comes, we take action very quickly. So if you have a flash moment of insight, write it down and take some consistent little action forward in that, so that you can let the universe know, hey, I'm paying attention. When I teach people about navigating their dream space, I always tell them, write down anything that you can in the morning from your dreams, even if it's just a feeling, and that will invite more connection in your dream space, more awareness in your dream space. That applies to when we get downloads during the day, when we get a sign or a synchronicity from something, we see something on a bumper sticker, we hear a song over and over in our head. Pay attention to the signals. The universe is always speaking to us. We have to just be quiet enough to listen and smart enough to take action when we get the insight. Okay, so that's the third theme, which is forward vision returning. One other thing on that, I will say that I think we are going to start to see at the top of the house those that might be willing to come forward and stick their neck out to try to create change. We're going to start to see more players coming on the board in March that are trying to stand up to those more powerful forces who have been in a space of corruption for a really long time. We're going to start to see more and more people doing that. And there will be some frontline leadership at the top of the house starting to come forward in the month of March. I suspect in the US that will align with our election process that we're experiencing and some of the other really intense things happening in the world of conflict in the Middle East. We're going to start to see some things coming forward that are, I don't know if they'll be able to break through all the noise or not, but pay attention to the other voices coming online and the alternative pathways that are being presented, and envision putting your energy behind those pathways that feel aligned for you. Okay, that's how we can support that energy. So that's the third theme. Let's go into the fourth theme, which is the one that, my goodness, my guides have been loud and clear with this one for the last few days, so much so that I went to an ecstatic dance the other night, and the last song that she played was verbatim what the guides have been saying to me, and it just kept repeating over and over. So I said, okay, I got it. I got it. And this is the theme that we will be working on in our group healing session in March, which is on the 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll cover all the themes, but this will be the one that's like the overarching energy of the evening. So this particular theme, I toyed with what to call it. I started with don't carry it alone, which I think is really the essence, but I wanted to make it positive instead of negative. So what I came up with was tapping into the collective heart. Okay. So the message in the song is, you don't have to carry this alone. The song was literally saying, it's too big of a burden. You don't have to carry this alone. The guides have really been encouraging my clients to tap into support. And a lot of them are on the front lines out doing things before others, and they feel like they don't have a lot of support. And they're reminding my clients, my guides are reminding my clients and myself that we're not alone. Like, we may not know that there are other people that think like we do, but I can tell you, I have at least 2,500 in my community alone that listen to these updates or on my email list, have been to session with me. They're out there. And we need to start tapping into the collective heart of humanity rather than the collective pain body and the difficulty of humanity. As empaths and sensitives, a lot of what we've done over the years is process the trauma of the collective field. And because the collective was somewhat unsure, or they didn't know really what was going on, they really couldn't tap into their own pain. And so we were like the canary in the coal mine, processing that pain. Now that the collective is starting to process more of what's really happening and starting to see, there's an opportunity for us to stop doing that pain body work more fully. We worked on this once last year. There was a moment where the guides were asking us to pull out of the collective pain body. We worked on this once last year, but this is deeper. This is, okay, now that the veil's been lifted and more people are seeing this, let them pick their pain back up. And I say that with love. I actually had a very intense dream about this theme a couple of nights ago, and I have very intense emotional dreams sometimes where the guides are working with me on something and I'm processing in my emotional landscape on the astral plane. And in that dream, I was somewhere in South America doing aid work. I was helping after a natural disaster, and I had been maybe working in this place for 6 or 8 weeks, and I had gone and taken a break, and then I was coming back to volunteer again. And they had us lined up and they were having us fill out paperwork to say why we were returning, because they wanted to make sure that we were psychologically ready and rested enough to go back into doing the work. And I got to the front of the line and I handed the lady my paperwork, and I had written on the paperwork that I'm back because there's just too much work to do and I can't take a break. And in the dream, she placed her hand on me and she showed me all of the people that I had impacted when I was there before, and how that had created a ripple effect where those people that I had helped were now helping others, and that I was still working even when I was resting. And in the dream, I just burst into tears. There was this huge emotional release in that dream. And as I was waking up and kind of processing that, the guides were like, Katie, you have to understand that you have been planting seeds for years. You have been planting seeds with people and activating people, and now let them do some of that heavy lifting out in the world, and you keep doing your thing and keep showing up. But it's also okay for you to tap into the collective heart and the love and the connection and the unity of humanity, not just the pain. You don't have to keep operating in the pain. And so I share that with you all because that is the essence of this theme in March. We have to pull out of doing that pain body work and that emotional labor, if you will, for the collective at large. And I know this is not the first time the guides are asking you to do this, but this is a make or break moment this month, where if we keep doing that, we're not going to be able to vision anything new. We're going to be so burdened and so heavy and so feeling downtrodden and exhausted. We worked on exhaustion energy last month in Healing Circle. We are not going to be able to move forward. We're not going to be able to be the way showers that we are. We're not going to be able to show people how to connect again, how to love again. And so it's really time that we shift our focus. This doesn't mean that we don't process our emotions and our anger and the things that are arising still within us of what's happening in the collective. We're just not processing for everybody else anymore. Okay. And I really want you to take that to heart this month. If you're somebody who feels that deeply and this is really resonating with you, I would love to have you join our group healing, because I think we can work on this together. And then they basically want me in this group healing to help you all disconnect from that completely and reconnect to this undercurrent of connection and unity that is available within humanity. And I'm not going to say too much about that because it's still coming in, but there's this subtle underlying energy that I'm feeling starting to expand. I almost called this collective power awakening because that's how I feel it. I'm seeing it in conversations in groups that I'm in. I'm seeing it in social media land. People are starting to have different conversations and starting to tap into, oh, we really cannot trust anybody at the top of the house to fix this for us. We've got to figure out this human to human experience. It's starting to activate. And yes, they're in their pain processing and truth integration cycle as well. But they're also starting to realize that those of us that have been holding this vision of unity in a different way might have it figured out. And so we can start to tap into that aliveness that's available in that undercurrent and start to harness that and start to create again. And that's the other reason why I wanted to launch my Creatorship cohort this month. I've been visioning it for 6 or 8 months now. And it feels like there's finally, even though there's so much chaos going on, there's finally this possibility of starting to leverage some of these higher frequencies and higher knowings that we've been perpetuating behind the scenes for a really long time. Tapping into the collective heart. That's the fourth theme that we're working with this month. I hope that this helps. I hope that this serves to give you some idea of what's happening in the collective. Maybe you'll join us on March 11th for this collective heart awakening that we're going to be working on together. Maybe you'll join us for the Creatorship cohort, or maybe you'll just listen to this and bring this out into your world and start practicing with these themes this month and tapping into them yourself. However you use this information, I hope it serves you well. Please comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps helps me get this information out to more people. I'm just keep showing up and doing the thing and hoping people will find me along the way that resonate. So if this resonates with you, please pass it along to somebody or subscribe to the page. All right, have an amazing month, everyone. I'll post information below about the group healing activation on the 11th and the Creatorship cohort that opens this week. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. There's a contact form on my website. Have an amazing day, everyone. Bye-bye.